June, July. When you look at increased net exports and impacts of the war in Ukraine on global supply chains and prices, well, it also contributes greatly to why you're still buying 4 tomatoes at 1,000 shillings. Now, these outcomes are supported by humanitarian food assistance rations, equivalent to 40 to 70% of households' energy needs. We do have David Kavanda, who's very passionate about food security, and we've been having a prayer discussion here that has gone into conventional agriculture, nutrition and economic rights, organic farming, etc. He comes from the Center of Food and Adequate Living Rights, and that is Seafood, and he's the executive director there. Mr. Kavanda, most welcome once again to Morning at NTV.
Thank you so much.
Now,
I'm happy to be here again.
We want to first understand, what is food security?
Food security is a situation when everyone, whether a man, a child, a woman, whether alone or in the community with others, can have access to food or means of access to food anytime. And when we say access to food, adequate food, because some people may have food, when it is contaminated, then that is not food. Because our slogan is, if it is not safe, it isn't food. So all those dynamics, and when we talk about every child, every woman, every man, it is intentional because the nutritional needs are different. You may find that a child's nutritional needs are not the same like a grown-up nutritional needs. So any time of the day, and people must be able to access adequate food. So that is food security.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's the status of Uganda's food security right now?
You see, where we start off from, I need to tell people that we find ourselves at a crisis. A crisis. And it is at multiple, levels, stages. Why am I calling it a crisis? People may not see it because it is not coming off to find like dead bodies on the street. But we know that many people are living but dead. Many people are giving birth to children, but they are giving birth to dead children. And they are nurturing dead people. And I'm not an alarmist here. It is very simple. When we thought that we have rains, that the food prices are going to reduce, they are not reducing. We have 35% of the Ugandans under acute food insecurity. So many people can't afford 2 meals in a day. Others cannot even afford a single meal in a day. We grew up knowing that food is expensive in the cities or in towns, but that is long gone. So beyond the food availability, as in food in my house, you find that we also have other issues of food safety. Now, this is another crisis, that we have been misled as a people to grow food using conventional means that use synthetic chemicals, pesticides, weed killers, everything people land their hands on goes to the garden. So food production is another crisis level in this country. So we are here to speak to people that the rainy season is here, and many people are planting. Many private seed companies are advertising fertilizers, seeds, but be extremely cautious and careful, because you are taking chemicals into your gardens, into your homes, because many people do not even have... Mr.
Kavanda, if I might interject right there, the farmer is doing the due diligence to plant and tap into the season that has come. And those that are marketing their products, fertilizers and insecticides and such, are also just really trying to support the farmer. And so I've often found that there is a gap between the farmer's understanding of what they're purchasing versus what is being sold to them actually, and its impact on exactly what they're wanting to plant.
And that is the critical part where we come in as the Center for Food and Adequate Living Rights, because there is a gap in the law. The legal framework is silent on many things, and even the fuel policy, policies that we have are not implemented at all. So the farmer is being cheated because they have not participated. They even don't know what they are planting. They don't even understand the depth of the crisis when they apply these chemicals. You find the farmer putting on spraying without having anything like a protective gear. You find the farmer mixing a cocktail of chemicals because they don't know. Under the Agricultural Chemicals Act, it is only a licensed applicator, they call them applicators, who is supposed to spray. But every Ugandan sprays the way.
Because these things are also available in the market. You just go down to Cooper Center and buy the bomba, buy the medicine, and go do it yourself.
And then you start. So this is why we are telling everyone, because yes, telling government is one thing, but we want to speak to you, the farmer, to you, the corporate who is into farming, that we have been misled for so long to think that conventional agriculture using chemicals is the way to go. You are losing the soil, you are losing the air, you are losing the water, you are losing the life, not only of your workers, but also yourself, because the food that is grown on your farm will find you in your office. So we are now speaking to everyone to embrace agroecology. You see, when we talk about agroecology, it is not rocket science. It is just understanding how the ecology works, what benefits from what, looking at plants, looking at animals. And even when you use these synthetic chemicals or fertilizers, you find yourselves being advised that again you must go back to organic fertilizers. Let us use our cow dung, the chicken droppings,
Mr. Kabanda,
yes.
I mean, Gaza, there are not many cows. There are not many goats to provide me the natural fertilizer of, the cow dung and the goat dung that you're talking about. I might have to end up maybe interacting with a farmer who's way out of town, transport that here, versus me buying, the medication that is on the market for 5,000 shillings. Do you get where the farmer is right now? The cost of investment in agriculture versus what they're going to reap out is what they're not understanding, in my perspective.
And again, that one is another misleading.
So how is the ecology study or agroecology going to help them in this place?
In fact, there are studies which are indicating that if you use the ecology practices, agroecology, you earn much more than when you use conventional methods. And it is real, because, for example, if you are going to plant maize, let me just give you an example, and you are going to use conventional means you have to buy fertilizers. Those fertilizers, you must have, you dig a hole, then you put the fertilizer, then you have to cover it with soil. And you know why you're covering it with soil? Because if you put the plant with the fertilizer, it burns it. You see how dangerous it is. If it burns the plant, who tells it doesn't burn the microorganisms that it finds in the soil? Then after that, then you put the seed. You must have another person to come and then, you see all those, levels of labor. So we are telling people that if you are using conventional means, you are losing out. But you see, I see the point you're making. The moment we leave out, the moment when the government puts off their hands from agriculture, we are setting up the ordinary farmer to be cheated and then to lose out completely. This is why we want government to come in to regulate. We have an organic policy in this country. And you see, Uganda's products are, are loved everywhere in the world. We are second in the world with the capacity to grow and produce, products organically. But we are not taking advantage of this. What we want government to do is to give us a law on organic agriculture.
Let me pause you right there. Between the last time you were here and today, has government moved even a footstep in what you are saying? Because you have made these recommendations over and over again.
Well, we are seeing progress. Like 2 weeks ago, there was a convening and they are discussing an agroecology strategy in Uganda. You see, we cannot have it in one day. This is why we must do it repetitively. We engage with government because we are also stakeholders, and we see that there is a lot of progress. with Ministry of Agriculture, for example. We are working with Ministry of Health. We are working with Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development. You understand? For us, we see that there is progress. And what we need to do is to continue this awareness with everyone. Because as I speak to the government to do their constitutional mandate of regulation, of respecting, protecting and fulfilling people's rights, then we must also speak to the people. Because the private sector cannot stop at a go. They will continue bringing, but we must suffocate the demand. You know, this is what we are doing. And I want to speak to everyone that this is your legacy. Because when you spray, and we have written a paper telling people that we are giving birth to dead but living children in Uganda. Women, when women consume these chemicals, the chemicals affect children, affect unborn children, and when they are born, you know, they continue eating these chemicals. Even us, there is a chemical which is used in the production of tomatoes. We all eat tomatoes. I don't know how many times you'll eat tomatoes today.
Chris was complaining earlier.
I want to repeat on this show that there is that whitish substance. It's called mancozeb. It is a chemical. Last month, EU banned it. You can now not take tomatoes to EU market with that white substance. But in the Ugandan market, it is the norm. Why are they banning it and we are using it? We are eating it like, you see, this, I called it a crisis because there's too much that we are not yet aware of. We continue eating, and slowly by slowly, we are dying. Our lives are reducing. People are now dying because of cancers, the non-communicable diseases. The soils are not performing. So everyone is confused. Yet we have a very clear, easy answer. We just need to embrace agroecology. Let us work to be fair. Okay. Let's make sure that people participate, but we must also hold government accountable.
What gap is there between the law and sustainable agriculture practices, such as the one that you're suggesting and you have said that is being considered by the Ministry of Agriculture, especially for small-scale farmers?
Okay, where we start from is, first, we do not have a law on extension. Farmers need extension services, and the government has not recruited the extension workers. And in the agroecology we are talking about, because it is a science, we need to understand how plants behave, how animals behave, how the soil science and soil health. So we do not have a law or a legal framework that helps us understand or participate. You clearly said it that farmers don't know. And yet we have too much information from private sector, the people who are selling. So the farmers are duped. So the legal framework must make sure that we work with local governments, for example. We have the Local Government Act. Why shouldn't we have, for example, ordinances at local government level? Because we have the NEMA Act under Section 4, it talks about nature's rights, that the rights of nature must be respected. But this has not been implemented. All that is silent. So we are here to reawaken some of the good provisions, but where we see a gap, for example, the organic policy is very nice. It is just a recent policy of 2019. So what we are urging government to do, yes, thank you so much. You brought this policy, but a policy is a policy.
So how then do you want the legislators move to play and, you know, participate actively in terms of implementation?
We have, for example, Parliament, and we know that we have the Uganda Parliamentary Alliance on Food and Nutrition. They should take the mantle to start these discussions and give us a law on agroecology.
What has been your interaction with the alliance?
Yeah, we have interacted. For example, we launched like a nutrition week in Parliament. It happens annually, and we are into many discussions, and some of these discussions are also there at their level. I know many things are happening, including having the Food and Drugs Amendment Law. So we are here to rig reignite the debate and keep the fire burning. Because what brings us here, recently we've just had this food crisis, Karamoja everywhere. We see the season is here and everyone is interested in planting. But we know that the planting is also a problem. What are you planting and what are you using to plant?
Okay.
Because we do not want to find ourselves in a situation where you've planted but you are supplying death to us. And another thing that I wanted to also highlight here is when we talk about agroecology, we want to appeal to government, local governments, that they should now start facilitating and enabling markets for organic products. You see, the challenge is we all go to conventional markets. If local governments wake up now and they start small earth markets where Kabanda knows that if I go to that market, I have a guarantee that what I'm buying from that market.
Mr. Kabanda, you have a perfect opportunity. The parish development model is sort of going in that direction. So if you tapped into it and you know, enabled the beneficiaries to be the startups for what you're talking about, agroecology, maybe then we'll have a better opportunity for it to spread across the country, and then government realizing its potential and investing in it, implementing, and also putting out every necessary policy to support it.
The good thing that in the National Development Plan 3, the first priority program is agro-industrialization. And our discussion in the parish development model now is, can we highlight agroecology? Can we, if this money is going to what you call the vulnerable of the vulnerable, women, youth, and all these people who find themselves at the bottom of the pyramid, can we engage them? Because we all know that their main work is agriculture. Let us engage in agroecology, but it is extremely difficult if you do not support them and you let them compete in the conventional market. We need to isolate them, give them the law. For example, at local government level, the Trade Act must be able to support them to have their markets, like earth markets, and people can be able to go and see the market is here. Slowly by slowly, people will now start coming to these markets.
At Seafraud, have you engaged in such a way that you do have earth markets, samples that people can come and see?
Yes, we have a market at Vaita Vaviri. If you want to eat organic food, after the conventional market, there is an organic market actually behind it. There is one there. We have another market. We work with Caritas in Zambia. It is on Saturdays. If you went to Sharing Hall in Zambia, there is an earth market there. We are starting another in Gayaza as Seafraud. We are already discussing with Kasangati Town Council, and they are on board. We have also started another one in Chiboga. You see, people think that in villages food is cheaper,
fresh also.
Fresh. I was in Chiboga. I was shocked that they come to Kampala to buy food, to buy all these vegetables and
recently
and
I found that matoke is more expensive in Kanungu than it is in Kampala. I was shocked. Just
imagine.
Yes.
So we are also going back to the villages and telling them it starts here. So we have started another market. We have discussed with the town council, with the local government, and they are on board. I think many people have not yet connected the dots. There is this feeling of, I'm a policymaker. For example, I'm at the district, those things do not concern me. Forgetting one thing, that in the morning you'll eat. You are not eating at your house. You'll eat at lunch. You'll eat, you go to this you go to this restaurant, yeah, and the restaurant is cooking using contaminated food products. You understand? You see, we are telling people, you eat fresh vegetables, but you see, I'm even stopping, telling people to eat them.
Okay, as we crown up this conversation, it's a planting season all over again. You've talked about agroecology. How do we move to utilize this planting season so that at the end you do have food that is organic, authentic, and good, not just for security but for nutrition of the country, status, and so on and so forth?
We have created a portal as Seafraud, and if someone wanted to find out how to do it, we even work with local governments. I want to encourage every Ugandan, if you have anywhere you can plant anything, be it in your home, now the rain is here, please plant plant such that we have plenty of food. But as we plant, let us make sure that we do not plant these synthetic chemicals. If you are buying seeds, let us find seeds that are not modified. You know, when I say modified, I don't even want to talk about GMOs, because someone can say we do not have a law yet, you know, you are against people's businesses. That is not what I'm doing. People use it to share seeds. I've even had people talking about, you know, where those seeds you will not get as much yield. Who tells you? We have a call center at Sefrot, for example. If people wanted to get much more information about organics and agroecology, we are here, and the movement is growing, by the way. I'm speaking from Sefrot, but I know other organizations are also coming up to build up a movement.
All right. Thank you so much, David Kabanda, for your impact on ensuring that there's food security in Uganda. Now, he has given you a challenge, especially for people who are in NTV Road. The place is called what?
Abaita Babili.
There's two markets. There's the market that sells the usual.
In fact, when you see the first market, then you just go behind it. The market is there. Okay. It's organic.
So this is my challenge to you. Go to that market, buy something, maybe say buy a mango from the front market, and then go buy a mango from the organic market, and you'll see the difference for yourself, and you'll automatically understand how important food security is, not just for Uganda, but for you, the person who consumes this food. Thank you so much for having been a part of our Take Note. In our Kickstarter, Scaling Up Land-Based Policy Reforms is the conversation coming up with Chris Igenu. Do stay with us.